Though I
We're
will,
getting a little off.
though I will say, for most of these cat-like people and stuff, some of them look more like cat humanistic in a way, more than actual cat-like
Well,
features. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, if you take a look at Turmoil, she looks more like a human than she does a cat compared
Yeah,
to
she
someone
looks.
like T-Bone.
Anthropomorphic is what you're looking for.
Yes, that. Thank you. She looks like a more anthropomorphic type person than a actual cat person. Like nothing wrong with that. I just kind of figured that out because I figured, given how this is all SWAT cats and more cats and stuff, and yes, a lot of their names are freaking cat puns. Kill me, but yeah, it's stuff like that.
Was the you got to think of it like this? She was the cougar to fucking T-Bone's fucking young dick.
Well, to be fair, we don't know
Pretty
how
much.
old Turmoil technically is, though. Like,
Take a look at that face and don't tell me she ain't fucking putting on makeup.
you have a point. I would suggest she's probably in mid 30s, so.
Mhm.
I mean,
Hazard might.
T-Bone looks a hell of a lot younger than that.
Well, to be fair, man, you forget animals age faster than humans.
All right, we're not getting
Anyway.
involved in more than that
Alright,
shit.
honestly, here's my sum up of Turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she is ruthless, direct, blunt, brutal, and extremely cunning. Those are the
Though if
best ways to describe Turmoil.
Though, if anything, I just want to put a funny input. If she wasn't an evil pilot, I see her as a fucking Russian dominatrix.
True that. And it's a shame, too. She had potential as a character.
Yeah. But I feel like that's most of the characters we needed to talk about anyway.
That's all the ones that are, have the most direct impact.
Yeah,
Mm.
because
So I
I
guess-
mean, the other characters, like you were saying, like hard drives really didn't have an impact. Rex Shard, which was the one that turned into a crystallization, he didn't have much of
He was
much
just basically
plot.
a very petty and vengeful inmate who just
Right.
happened to get corrupted into a crystal monster by complete accident.
And the bugs were just bugs.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna talk about any other villain, the only one you would technically talk about would be like the Dark SWAT Cats. But then again, like that's just a one-off thing too. That wasn't a real villain, really villain. That was more of like, oh look, we're in the future, the SWAT, a different like time period, and then the SWAT Cats are evil here. Oh boy, we gotta stop our evil selves.
That's pretty
If
much the
anything,
gist of it.
pretty much, yeah. Anywho, I feel like since we're talking about characters, I feel like the next subject we should talk about is who's our favorite characters throughout the series, because I know we got a couple of things.
That's a tough call for me. You guys can go first.
Fox, you got any? Who's your favorite characters from the series of SWAT Cats? If you got any?
That's completely easy. Razor would
Okay.
have to be my favorite protagonist because the reason being is Razor himself, straight off the bat, is the brains of the operation.
Mm-hmm.
With when you got Razor and you got T-Bone together, that's your yin and your yang. T-Bone more has your egotistical, like this jet still got it going. He's not going to play logical. He's going to play to win. Where Razor's the one that's more of the, the voice in the head, like, hey, wait a minute, we need to do this in order to succeed here.
How's it handled? You need to work on the shock absorbers, buddy.
You mean you've never tried this thing before?
Not on a real mission, but this is what it was designed for. Yeah, it was either the turbo mole or wait around for 2 weeks.
Razor is straight up my most favorite character because of the brains and the logic, and he shows what it's like, I guess you want to say, to be a real, like a real hero.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to like my favorite villain, straight up, gonna have to say Dr. Viper. I would have said Dark Cat, but Dr. Viper, to me, compared to any of the other villains that we discussed, even Mad Cat, Dr. Viper was the most well-developed villain.
This is true.
I can't argue with that.
He was the most well-developed villain out of the entire series.
A lot of people will argue the Metallic Cats were the most developed villains, but that's only to a point. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, they could be kind of comical, but like personalities overall, yeah, the Metallic Cats are well developed, but in terms of their overall villainy, I give that to Viper.
I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, I actually think that Dr. Viper showed up in more episodes than any of the other villains.
I think you're right, but I have to check that.
Most villains, though, to be honest, aside from the Metallic Cats, most of the villains that you would see most appear would be Dr. Viper because Dark Cat doesn't really show himself much unless it was in like his little lair down in the
But when
sewers, I
he
believe.
does show up, he makes an impact.
Yes.
And one thing I love about Dr. Viper, he instilled the fear of broccoli in me.
He what?
If you remember,
monster, it fits.
if you remember the broccoli monster in
Oh,
the
yeah.
series, when I was a kid and my mom tried to make me eat broccoli, hell no. After that episode, I thank the gods for Dr. Viper because still to this day, I will not eat fucking broccoli.
Honestly, when I first saw that, I thought of that. It made me think of that one freaking episode of Powerpuff Girls where they freaking fought vegetable monsters and shit, or vegetable aliens and crap like that. It was, wow, the resemblance is uncanny. But thank God I don't eat my vegetables. Ugh. But
Oh,
yeah,
You see, with Dr. Viper also in that one episode, that's also another reason why I like Razor.
mhm,
And the reason why I like SWAT Cats in general, and I think this is in season 2. I could be wrong. But it's the
mhm,
episode where the entire city is covered with the mutated liquid and everything, and T-Bone gets infected, and he basically transforms, and Razor has to stop him and go on his own. That's where it
mhm,
shows case. That's where also where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, with the episode. That's also where T-Bone learns to get off his fear of the swimming because Razor does all the work. Razor stops everything, but at the end he just falls in the water, and then T-Bone comes save him.
because Razor
And
was
start
completely exhausted and had to essentially pull double duty the entire time.
pretty much. And that's where it showcases like, T-Bone would be like if they're outside the Mega Cat, T-Bone would be more of the bronze where Razor's the brains with the tech.
mhm,
So basically, if you would have Batman without gadgets, that's your T-Bone, and you got Spider-Man over here with, or excuse me, you would have not Spider-Man, Iron Man, which would be Razor, and then now Razor's got to do all the work right now,
mhm.
and that showcased the character myself with Razor the most.
That actually would showcase his best development in a way.
The only thing I hate about Razor is, like you said before in the beginning of all this, is that you don't really know much of his past.
And that's a shame because I honestly felt like Razor deserved better in that department.
Anyway,
Next, who else wants to say their favorites?
honestly, antagonist-wise for me, it's kind of hard to choose between Dark Cat and Dr. Viper because they both put an impact in their own respective ways, which I respectfully do like. There are things I like about Dark Cat that's more about Dr. Viper, and there are things I like more about Dr. Viper than I do Dark Cat because they both play good villain roles, and seeing them work together, well, yeah, it was interesting and intimidating at first, given how they both played interesting role and given how intimidating they both can be in their own ways and rights, especially the broccoli monster thing and frickin' Dr. Viper becoming a frickin' Godzilla monster, while Dark Cat has like so much things that could make him most threatening ever and has most power and potential. The villain, which I enjoy. And as for protagonists, I would most likely say T-Bone might be my favorite.
Reason
Because
being, out of curiosity?
well, yes, he is like mostly the bronze and stuff, but I do enjoy how show his characteristics on things, like how he shows he isn't afraid to do things if he needs to. Like when the tough gets going, he fights back a bit or tries to get tough as well. And sure, that one episode where he was underwater, he was stubborn to get out or eject because he didn't want to swim, but he was still tried to fly the jets, and he is very skilled at flying, which I am amazed by with how he was able to fly through so many things, given how many fucking things could attack from the air and still hold up. You know what I mean?
I
Not only that,
Mhm.
not only that, when T-Bone did rescue Razor from the water, it showed a lot of character things, or what things, because I do like character development, or some things I can learn about a character that I can see what they can or will do, or how far they will go in a way. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And you see, I'm gonna interject here for a second here, and I'm gonna ask you a question, which is gonna be completely, which is gonna seem like this is completely out of subject, but I have to ask this question to
Mhm.
determine something here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Which one's your favorite turtle, real quick, Justin?
Raphael.
Okay. When it comes down to that, I think that like when it comes down to any television series, and I think for another reason why you like T-Bone, it's a simple reason why why I asked you the question about which turtle you like is because you're going to relate with a character that is more of your traits. And if I have to actually admit something here, I think
Mhm.
you have more of the traits of T-Bone.
I can't really argue with that. That's kind of accurate.
hmm
Because like when you said Raphael, it's like for me,
Mm.
for example, when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Donatello.
I suppose you think the Night Watcher's some kind of hero. Beats sitting around doing nothing while dirtbags run free.
Oh, I would have suspected you like Michelangelo.
No, I'm a Donatello fan, which would represent more of the reason why I like Razor. For you, you got to also know that T-Bone, in a sense, does have somewhat of a short stack. Just like, not as bad
Raphael.
as Raphael, but
Mhm.
kind of like
T-Bone
you,
is
kind of like.
naturally hot-blooded. Like, he is very excitable. Which is actually a good thing in a way, because it lets him push forward when he needs to.
Well, that's why I was saying that T-Bone also has an ego issue.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
cannot fail. No matter what, like how many times did the mega their fucking jet like start falling from the sky or some shit, and fucking T-Bone's like, come on, girl, you got this. I'm not letting you down. And like Razor's, panicking in a sense, like, oh, we gotta eject. Oh no, she's still got it. And then all of a sudden, at the very last second, T-Bone fucking manages to pull it out of his ass.
It's basically,
You
yeah,
can't
you're
fault
right.
him, though.
That
They did build the Turbo Cat together.
Yeah, they did
Yep.
build a Turbo Cat together, but what I'm saying is that even in like combat situations with Dark Cat or anything else, T-Bone is more of the hothead that's going to rush in.
Mhm. Yes, that
Character.
that is true.
He's a damn good character. Don't get me wrong. He's a good character development, and that's why I say yin and yang. That's what makes Razor and T-Bone work so well together, is because of the two different personalities.
You're right.
hmm
Compared to something like the Metallic Cats, which have almost a similar personality.
Which is why they clash
Mhm.
so much.
Exactly.
Alright. And I will say this may be a bit of a stretch. He's not really a character I like, but I see some interesting things about him, which would be Commander Farrell a bit, because the reason I say that, because there was this one episode where when the Metallic Cats, right, were like just heads and things, and they were persuading Turmoil how they were willing to give them the secret identity of the SWAT cats and stuff, but Turmoil just didn't care, and he just
Turmoil, are
Farrell.
you talking
about
about
Farrell?
Farrell?
You mean Farrell.
Commander Farrell. I'm sorry, I'm very tired.
That's fair. It's 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah, Commander Farrell, I meant. But yeah, when Commander Farrell just didn't care about who the SWAT cat's identity was, and just neuralized.
He had the perfect opportunity and he didn't take it. That gave him some
Yeah.
development.
Yeah, which I approve of. He's not my complete favorite, but yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there just because, yeah, it shows some character development, which I approve.
Farrell does not.
Mhm.
Farrell in that case scenario does not negotiate with terrorists.
No,
He's a very embodiment of that.
no.
He's not going to
Who else?
compromise himself, which is good.
I think
Yeah.
it's his second in command or whatever, Steel or whatever, that would have taken that deal.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. Anyway,
All
who
right,
else wants to go?
Crossy, next favorites.
Obviously, out of the way, I'm just gonna say Felina. Because again, pure, unadulterated badass.
Your unadulterated ego.
Reasons
Bite me.
being.
I mean, she's like the different version of Feral that's more cooler and interesting. Like that, like she worked alongside with the SWAT Cats and all that stuff, and I like that.
I'll put it like this. I actually think that she would have been more of what Farrell would have been like if he was younger.
Yep.
You're not wrong. And honestly, if it came down to it, I feel like Felina would actually be a good fit as a SWAT cat, ironically enough.
Yay. And then you get your Batgirl if that was the case.
I mean, I'm not wrong on that one.
No, you ain't. Any favorite antagonists, Crossy?
Turmoil.
Of course!
Of course.
To be fair,
fucking
Turmoil is like the only real notable solo female villain.
Well, females can like the male villains too, goddamn.
I'm just pointing out how, to be fair, Tormo was a clear boss, where unlike the Metallicats, it was Makamali sharing the leadership equally.
To be fair, the Metallicats arguing is no different from all of us arguing like they would.
Yet somehow it all works out.
Just like us.
Makamali is the true definition of love. That's how you want to. That's exactly what you're looking for in a partner. Someone that's gonna someone that's gonna accept your bitching.
Again, I'm pretty sure their sex is amazing or
We're gonna
interesting.
ignore that. So next.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm sure.
Though I just have one question. Do they both have a vibrate function when they have sex? It's like
Oh my
No. No, it's more like sparks and magnets just rubbing.
Oh my god.
All right, Zammy, what about you?
All right. First off, Mr. Big, intimidating Dark Cat.
That's
Yeah, that is completely fair.
And Turmoil.
Any female, like any favorite protagonist?
Well, wait, she
named
gotta
two
give her reasons why she's like.
antagonists.
Well, she's gotta give her reasons why she likes them
I know.
first.
I'm just curious.
Oh, when it comes to Dark Cat, we already know she likes him because of his big feet.
That is no.
Let's hear it.
All right, go.
Reasons.
All right, so I practically gave the reason for Dark Cat earlier. He's like really, he doesn't do anything. He's just like, okay, I'm gonna give my orders to these guys, and I'm just gonna sit back, inspect what the SWAT Cats are doing, and possibly come up with some huge, very undefeatable plan. You know what I mean?
That's
That's what's
understandable.
scary.
But what's also impressive about Dark Cat, he's not afraid to get his hands dirty.
He's gonna soak his hands in your blood.
Pretty much.
All Dark Cat is just the equivalent of Frieza and Dragon Ball Brawly, where he just sat there and watched Brawly do all the work.
Pretty much. Just minus the whole fake ass acting with your straight energy blast bullshit.
No, that's something the Dark Cat probably would have done if it would have gotten him his advantage.
One thing I just remembered that what makes Dark Cat so utterly terrifying in a sense is not just his criminal connections, but how he was basically able to get practically anyone to work for him.
Yes.
Like when he screwed over the SWAT Cat's confidence in that one episode, Razor's Edge.
Well, that's the manipulation aspect of Dark Cat. Dark Cat knows before he just talks to anyone. He already knows basically
how to target
what
hits worst.
Why are you attacking my creeplings? We're all on the same side, remember?
What are you talking about, Dark Crud?
Why are you two acting so strangely?
And that in itself is terrifying.
He's a literal goddamn devil.
Yep.
Like the way I look at Dark Cat also is that if you look at Dark Cat and you see how he talks to like Viper and he talks to Metallicats or anyone, it's like they're making a deal with the devil.
Just sign your soul here.
Anyways, back to Zammy. What's your
reasons for liking Turmoil?
Yeah, like
Hazard basically said what I was gonna say.
About Turmoil or about Dark Cat?
Yes. Turmoil.
Fair enough. All right, I think we've
all
listed
right.
our favorite characters. Favorite episodes, anyone?
Well, hang on a minute. We didn't ask her about her protagonist yet,
Fair enough. I forgot about that for a second.
Eager Beaver, and you didn't do yours yet either.
Fair.
Anyway, Zammy, any favorite protagonists?
T-Bone, the big guy.
May I ask why? Or is it just because of the kiss? I'm going to smack
It's because
this
of his fucking name. He's got a big T-bone.
Shut the fuck.
Tell you what, babe, I'll treat you to a T-bone steak later.
Okay.
Anyway. All right, Hazard, what about you?
Honestly, favorite villain has to be. This one was a tough choice to make, but I had to choose between Dark Cat and Dr. Viper, and mainly because of the impact they make. They don't need to necessarily attack like all the fucking time just to make their point clear.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the same boat with those two.
The thing about Viper and Dark Cat that makes them so good too is because they attack from the shadows.
They have, not to mention multi-layered plans.
It's like an assassin waiting to strike.
Can't deny it. They got multi-layered plans.
Mm-hmm.
And they take advantage of any opportunity that could work in their favor. They're extreme opportunists, and that's why I like them. I have a thing for villains who are extreme opportunists at times. Like how, for example, when Viper made that bacteria monster, and when Feral was dumb enough to basically try and destroy it with missiles, only to make it more dangerous by splitting it in two. So yeah, Viper just took advantage of it by basically commanding both bacteria monsters to attack while Mega Cat biochemical. See what I mean by taking advantage?
Yep.
If nothing else, Viper is a master of basically switching tactics on the fly, and that in itself is what makes him such a dangerous villain. Dark Cat, on the other hand, he plans ahead at least 2 or 3 steps. You can't deny that is clever of him. Like when he kidnapped the SWAT Kats and had them basically set to be crushed by a machine, in the event that they somehow escaped, he rigged it to blow up. If that doesn't scream well planned, I don't know what does.
Well, that technically wasn't well planned. I mean, it was well planned in one degree, but it was also not well planned because right then and there, all he needed was a fucking knife or a gun and just shoot him right then and there and knew it died.
Yeah, but to be fair, he's a sadistic bastard, so you can't deny that.
Shoot him in the legs first. That way they can't run. Then you put him in the trap.
Yeah, but he was more than confident enough that they wouldn't get free so easily. And to be fair, he wasn't wrong. They needed to use the creeplings to get loose from that mess.
Good lord.
This is why you can't hire good help nowadays.
Nope.
So it's technically creeplings' fault that the SWAT Kats escaped.
Only gotta do it.
And after you're done with your villains and everything and stuff, I got one last thing I gotta say, which I gotta ask is, what is the least favorite characters?
Fair enough.
Oh boy.
Most favorite protagonist, and honestly, there's no real choice. There's no real debate. For me, it's Razor.
My man.
Because don't get me wrong, T-Bone comes to a close second, and so does Callie, but Razor wins out for me easily, and that's because he shows a combination of intelligence, cunning, and tactics, and you can't deny it. He makes use of all of that and then some. And he can also be quite a sarcastic little shit sometimes, which also helps. One of the reasons I like Razor as a character is because he shows that he has plenty of depth to him, despite his, reckless antics as a SWAT Cat. Like when Dark Cat tricked him into doubting his ability to actually fight crime. That was a dick move on Dark Cat's part, but Dark Cat, to his credit, made it impossible for him to be traced that it was him until one of his subordinates accidentally squealed on him.
Oh yeah, I remember that episode now.
Razor basically realized, wait a second, I got tricked. Fuck you. I'm gonna get back at you, motherfucker. You can't deny that Razor had plenty of good development.
Don't tell me I lost that thing again.
Cyborg.
Thanks, dude.